I've always had an interest in wildlife. When I was young, I used to spend hours just walking around the farm looking out for rare and unusual species of birds.
You're here as a custodian of the farm from one generation to another, and it would be very nice to hand it on with more wildlife than you inherited.
Our objective when we came here was to try and make this a better place for everybody and everything on it. So we got involved pretty quickly into trying to improve the environment.
There's nothing as beautiful as walking in the fields and hearing birdsong. To have that around you is wonderful, and is one of the reasons why I'm trying to do my best to encourage bird life on the farm.
I think in the big picture, the Nature of Farming Awards are very important to agriculture. For the last 2 or 3 decades, we've had quite bad press, but farmers are aware of their public profile, and they've made great efforts with the help of agri-environment schemes to try and turn this around.
Yeah, it was a brilliant experience. I really enjoyed taking part. It seems to get out to the public that farmers do try to do something on their farms to help with wildlife and the environment.
It's sort of highlighted to the wider farming community really how you can make changes and be more productive, profitable and benefit wildlife.
Well, since we went into these agri-environmental schemes, we have seen a great increase in, I would say, just about everything. Now, the sort of birds you would see, which we never used to see, for example, are lapwings, curlews too, they come in the spring.
By implementing a more sort of mixed farming system, we've introduced new habitats onto the farm really, and it's brought the whole farm alive.
Well, I think with what I've been doing on the farm, I've seen more yellowhammers, tree sparrows and finches.
We've highlighted areas within this farm that are less productive. There will be field corners where you can't get in very well. We've got poorly drained areas, infertile areas where the sand would just blow away and would drought out in the middle of summer. So it's figuring out what's going to work on your farm, where you can integrate it without sacrificing huge income from commercial cropping and gaining some income from the environmental scheme.
The main example, I think, of where we've implemented something that's of benefit to wildlife that's ended up being more profitable is growing the cereals. We're saving thousands of pounds really on bought-in feed, a few £1,000 every year on bought-in bedding, and also the fact that we're leaving the stubble over winter. By spring, spilt grain has regerminated and it gives us a fresh bite to turn sheep and cattle onto in early spring.
If you want to balance the wildlife side with farming, I do believe it's possible to do it, but you've got to be prepared to sacrifice certain amounts of land. But against that, the payment that you receive does compensate for firstly the loss of the land which you may be taking out of agricultural production. It compensates for the extra time you've got to put into the farm as well.
Yeah, I really do truly believe that we can farm productively and have wildlife running side by side. We don't have to have one or the other. By implementing more mixed farming systems, we can produce more food, more sustainably, and be beneficial to biodiversity.
If we were to lose the income which we get from the agri-environmental scheme, it would be difficult to make it up other than by increasing our stocking rates, and it would just be almost unthinkable, in my view, to go back to an era where there are no schemes in place.
I think if the funding was cut, there'd be some very tough decisions to be made. Some areas would revert back to normal agriculture because the land is my resource. This is how I make a living. I'm a farmer.
All the good work that's been done over the last 10, 20 years, there's a real danger that all that good work's going to be undone.
It's for the future generations that I would worry. My son is intending to come back to the farm, and I would like to think that something like this, those schemes would be there to help him and encourage him to continue as I am doing on the farm.